Well, a very good evening and welcome to KTN Business. My name is Abi Agina. The Kenya Revenue Authority and the National Bank of Kenya have entered into a memorandum of understanding to provide credit facilities and train at least 903 suppliers who are women, youth and persons living with disabilities. This will ensure that KRA enhances its tender allocation to specific groups according to the 30% threshold of access to government procurement opportunities.
Access to government tenders for millions categorized as a special group comprising women, the youth and persons living with disabilities have been suppressed by limited knowledge on public procurement process, regulations, tax laws, as well as lack of funds. The MOU between the Kenya Revenue Authority and National Bank of Kenya targets to ensure at least 903 suppliers are trained by the bank on procurement best practices and offered credit to meet supply obligations.
KRA will provide them with courteous, efficient, and professional services. And KRA will also advise qualified suppliers on the LPO financing facility provided by the bank.
KRA notes that in the current financial year, it has marked 325 million shillings, equivalent to 30% of eligible contract to AGPO registered supplier, planning to increase the amount in future.
Just to give a highlight, this MOU promotes collaboration between KRA and NBK in carrying out capacity building programs. And these will enhance cross-functional efficiency as well as product development. 2013
presidential directive to state agencies sought to allocate 30% of state tenders to the disadvantaged groups under the Access to Government Procurement Opportunities program. Julie Owino, KTN News.
Some good news there for the youthful population. Let's talk matters agriculture now. And Kenya is taking the war on the fall armyworm head-on to save the country from incurring more food losses as farmers remain exposed to the threat of losing their maize crop harvests. While the government has pledged to pump in close to 1 billion shillings to ensure a concerted response to the menace. Here now is why farmers may start to see real solutions from the government. The scourge brought about by the fall armyworm has left a trail of loss and pain among maize farmers in the country. Latest estimates released by the government shows that farmers have lost a whooping 3 billion shillings in harvests, prompting immediate action from the government. The fall armyworm, which emanated from West Africa and is fast spreading into East Africa, could cripple Kenya's food security agenda if not nipped in the bud.
The pest is also dangerous because it's also feeding on more than 100 plants. And therefore, we are also discussing, yes, this season, between now and November, we are going to fight it so that we can harvest maize.
As a country, we have lost between 3 to 5 billion as a result of our crops that have been destroyed by the fall armyworm. So we don't want to have another loss.
Infestation and invasion of the fall armyworm constitutes a direct threat to Kenya's survival interests because it's a threat to Kenya's food security.
There's potential for it to even cross over to our neighboring countries, that is Tanzania and Uganda, and this will have a big dent when it comes to maize harvest across the region. So far, the country is banking on strategic maize reserves to cushion consumers from a potential maize shortage if the worm is not neutralized.
We really require to attune right now. The research department is asking for about 1 billion to continue with their work. We shall require to buy pesticides for the same. Already we have spent around 340 million from cattle and crop department. We are spending more. We might spend about 600 million this season to fight the fall armyworm. But we have no choice.
Infestation right now is massive. If you look at the farms all over the country, then you will see that the crops are seriously affected, and we don't expect much unless we move very, very fast to salvage whatever is still there.
Researchers are busy exploring quick interventions that could keep the worm at bay. Some of the measures that the government will be taking to contain the armyworm is intercropping by use of pyrethrum and napier grass, as well as sensitization at the grassroots level. Abi Agina, KTN Business. The Lamu South Sudan Ethiopia Transport Corridor, LAPPSET, project's construction of the 3 berths is 48% complete. This is according to the Cabinet Secretary for the East African Community and Northern Corridor Development, Peter Munya, who delivered the keynote address at the opening of a workshop to deliberate on accelerating regional infrastructure projects across Africa. Among the stakeholders present at the event were representatives of the Africa Development Bank, which is a major financier of African infrastructural development.
The importance and significance of the key initiative for Africa's regional and continental infrastructure development cannot be overemphasized. A number of key and impactful infrastructure projects need more than just good preparation and financing, but they also need high-level political support.
This is all possible because the Lamu port area is very deep and has a wide channel, and therefore we are shaping the logistics and sea transport business in a revolutionary way. Soon, as a continent, we shall be able to undertake massive business and cut down on costs, which we believe will catalyze the industrialization sector greatly. I want to assure you that the LAPPSET program is on course. Major milestones have been achieved in the three countries.
Well, and that story brings us to a close on the business news for this evening. My name is Abi Agina, and I hand over to my colleague, Linda Gutu, for more.
Abi, thank you. People, that's why we leave it here on KTN Prime. Thank you so much for watching. Our sign language interpreter has been